Gregory Brown, and this is episode 10 of Writing a Programming Book. Today I want to talk about the idea of going meta, or basically the idea of talking about what you're talking about, what you're talking about, what you're talking about. And this video series is a good example of that. I'm somebody who's writing a book about how to think about programming. And people who use that book will actually be programmers who are trying to apply it in their own work. And that's where the real activity happens. The book itself is sort of a meta-analysis of how to do that, and that's what all teaching is. And then me writing it is a metacognition process of me thinking about how to teach that sort of thing. And then these videos are a meta-analysis of that, in which I'm talking to you about how I'm doing the kind of work that I'm doing with my writing work. You watching this is probably one more level of that because you're trying to learn this. And although that sounds silly when you stack it up like that, there's nothing inherently wrong with things being meta. In fact, it's how we learn. We always have to go one level above whatever the activity that it is that we're doing so that we can think about and practice and try out ideas, which then we can apply in the context that we're actually trying to use them in. At the same time, every time you go up a higher level of abstraction, you get farther and farther away from the concrete context that you're trying to apply your ideas in, right? So with this whole stack in which I'm trying to teach you how to write for programmers so that those programmers can get better at their work, the only thing that matters in the end, at the end of that chain of value, is that those programmers get better at their work. And arguably, if you go a step farther, it's not even about making them better at their work. It's about making the result of their work better so that the software that they build has a meaningful impact on the world. And that's the most concrete aspect of what we do as software developers. And as teachers, our goal has to be to influence that. So with that in mind, I feel like I've personally gone a little bit too abstract in making these videos. I think I'd like to do more of them, but I think that for every extra layer of abstraction that you pile on top of an idea, you need to do a lot more at the more concrete layers. You know, there should be a order of magnitude scale there, right? Which is for every 100 hours that you spend actually working as a programmer, you should spend 10 hours thinking about how to help others program. And then maybe for every 100 hours that you spend on that, you might spend 10 hours teaching other people how to think about programming. And so on and so forth until you get all the way up this chain. And with that in mind, I have a whole year to write a book. And I wanted to make these videos while I was doing that because I wanted whatever feedback or advice that I give you to be based on the work that I'm actually doing instead of just looking at it in retrospect. And I think that's important. The capture has to happen at the same time that you're doing an activity. But at the same time, if I look at what I've been saying in the last couple of videos, it's getting more and more general, right? When I'm talking about finding your voice, that's a great idea. If you read the book On Writing Well, it's packed with tons of ideas like that. But it's also extremely similar to 100 different other articles that you could read or videos you could watch. There's nothing about that in particular that is uniquely tied to my experience, meaning I'm probably the worst person that you can get this from because video is not my format that I'm good with, because compared to somebody who's sold millions of copies of something, I'm only a very, very moderately successful writer. And with all of that in mind, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few days or a few weeks or a few months or however long it takes to find the aspect about writing, technical writing in particular, that I have some unique insights on, and then start these videos back up again once I have that. So I think realistically, that's going to be more than a few days, but maybe a few months. In January or February or something like that, I'll do another round of 10 or so of these videos and share whatever unique insights that I got during that time. And I'll be thinking about it day to day. So if you want to talk to me about it, you can. But until then, I'm going to take a couple months and focus on going back down this stack of abstraction, unrolling all the meta practice and getting back down to the core, which to me is just basically talking with practicing developers about their craft. This is not just meant to be a semi-ironic meta commentary on the concept of meta commentary. It's meant to be concrete, specific advice to you as well. If you're writing about something, make sure you're doing that thing 10 times as much as that you're talking about it. And if you want to go above that level, talk to other people who are doing that thing or want to do that thing. And then make sure that whatever writing you do or whatever teaching you do or whatever videos record come out of that. And that's how you do it. So that's the end of this series for a while, but I'll come back again in a few months and share what I've learned. For the rest of the stuff, you should just pay attention to what I'm doing with my book if you like that kind of thing. And you could learn by looking at me practicing these ideas rather than just talking about them. Thanks.